Imagine your child sleeping peacefully through a -30-degree night. No power, no heater, just four walls and ancient knowledge. And yet they slept warmer than you do in your modern home tonight. How? This is that story. This wasn't basic survival. This was pure engineering. A heating system refined over thousands of years. This wasn't luck. This was generational knowledge perfected through centuries of innovation. So how did Native Americans build lodges that maintained warmth all night in brutal cold? Let's break down the system step by step. First came the structural design, the foundation of heat retention. Then came the insulation layers, creating thermal barriers. Then came the ventilation system, managing smoke and moisture. And finally came heat storage, the secret to all-night warmth. These four elements working together created something remarkable. Normal structures lose heat rapidly. Cold air seeps through gaps. Warm air escapes upward. Within hours, inside temperature equals outside temperature. The Earthlodge and Winter Tipi, engineered specifically for heat retention. These weren't random designs. Every element served a thermal purpose. Let's start with the Earthlodge used by tribes like the Mandan and Hidatsa. They dug down. The floor sat 2 to 3 feet below ground level. This immediately provided insulation from frozen surface conditions. They built a wooden frame, massive cottonwood posts, 10 to 12 inches in diameter, supporting horizontal beams. This created a dome-shaped structure, 30 to 40 feet across. Over this frame, they layered willow branches, prairie grass, and finally thick layers of earth and sod, 12 to 18 inches deep on the roof. This created what we call thermal mass insulation. In simple terms, think of it like wrapping your house in a thick blanket that never gets cold. The earth stays at a stable temperature, protecting you from extreme cold outside. The roof alone weighed 8 to 10 tons. Those 12 to 18 inches of earth and sod kept heat inside better than the walls in most modern apartments. Here's the shocking part. These ancient lodges were often warmer than today's homes with central heating. This works exactly like modern earth-sheltered architecture, using soil's natural insulating properties. But they perfected this 800 years ago. Even with great walls, cold air penetrates through the entrance. Every time someone enters, warm air escapes. The entry tunnel system. Instead of a simple door, they built a covered entrance tunnel, 10 to 15 feet long, angling downward into the lodge. This created an airlock effect. Simple explanation. Cold air is denser and sinks. The tunnel trapped cold air below the main living level. Warm air stayed inside the upper chamber. It's the same principle as modern vestibule entries in Arctic buildings. The entrance tunnel reduced heat loss by 60 to 70% compared to a direct door. Inside temperature could be 40 to 50 degrees warmer than outside. Fire creates smoke. In an enclosed space, smoke accumulation becomes deadly within minutes. The smoke hole system, but not just a random hole in the roof. This was precision engineering. They positioned the central fire pit directly below a smoke hole in the roof peak. The hole size was calculated, too large and heat escapes, too small and smoke backs up. This utilized the chimney effect or stack effect. Explanation: hot air and smoke naturally rise. As warm air exits through the top, it creates negative pressure that draws in fresh air from below. Modern chimneys work on this identical principle. The smoke hole was typically 18 to 24 inches in diameter. They could adjust it using hide flaps, controlling both smoke exhaust and heat retention. Proper adjustment maintains smoke-free air while keeping inside temperature 35 to 45 degrees above outside. This is exactly how modern wood stoves and chimneys work, natural draft ventilation. No fans needed. Pure physics. Human breath and body heat create moisture. In extreme cold, this moisture condenses on walls, creating ice buildup and reducing insulation effectiveness. The inner liner system. Inside the outer structure, they hung buffalo or elk hides from the ceiling, creating an inner wall 2 to 3 feet from the outer structure. This created a dead air space. In simple terms, the gap trapped still air, and still air is like an invisible shield against cold. It's nature's perfect insulator. Nothing moves, nothing conducts cold. This air gap, 2 to 3 feet wide, made the walls work twice as hard at keeping warmth inside. Combined with the earth walls, these lodges stayed warmer than modern homes that cost $50,000 to heat properly. Here's something that will blow your mind. A modern home loses 25 to 30% of its heat through walls and roof, even with today's insulation. These ancient earth lodges, they lost less than 10%. A structure built 800 years ago outperformed homes we build today. This is identical to modern double-wall construction with air gap insulation, the same principle used in high-efficiency Arctic buildings today. But here's what most people miss. Here's the real engineering breakthrough. The secret wasn't just keeping heat in. It was storing heat to last all night. How? Through strategic use of thermal mass. They positioned large stones, 20 to 50 pounds each, in a ring around the central fire pit. Throughout the evening, as the fire burned, these stones absorbed tremendous amounts of heat energy. Even after the fire died down to coals or went out completely, these stones continued radiating heat for 8 to 12 hours. This is called thermal mass storage or heat battery effect. Explanation: dense materials like stone have high heat capacity. They absorb heat energy slowly, store large amounts, and release it slowly. Modern radiant floor heating uses the exact same principle. A ring of 10 to 15 stones, each weighing 30 to 40 pounds, heated for 4 to 5 hours, could maintain comfortable warmth for 10 to 12 hours. Inside temperature stayed 30 to 40 degrees above outside temperature all night. Picture this. The fire burns strong until everyone prepares for sleep. The stones surrounding it glow with absorbed heat. The fire is banked, covered with ash to slow burning. Throughout the night, those stones silently radiate warmth while everyone sleeps peacefully. The ground itself pulls heat away from sleeping bodies. Direct contact with cold earth causes heat loss faster than the body can generate it. Raised sleeping platforms built around the perimeter of the lodge, 18 to 24 inches above ground level. These platforms were covered with dried grass, buffalo robes, and furs. Elevating sleeping areas by just 2 feet increased sleeping temperature by 10 to 15 degrees. Combined with bedding insulation, people slept in 60 to 70 degree comfort while outside was minus 30. This is exactly why modern Arctic structures use raised floors with air space, preventing ground heat loss. Ancient knowledge, same physics. A single large fire consumes enormous amounts of wood and creates uneven heating. Too hot near the fire, cold at the edges. Fire management technique. They maintained a moderate, steady fire rather than a roaring blaze. The key was consistency, not intensity. They selected hardwoods like oak or hickory that burned slowly with sustained heat output. They arranged logs in a star pattern, pushing them inward as they burned. A properly managed fire consumed 30 to 40 pounds of wood over 12 hours, far less than a large fire. Yet it maintained consistent 60 to 70 degree temperatures throughout the entire lodge space. Now let's talk about the winter teepee. A different design, same engineering principles. The teepee wasn't just a cone of hide. It was a sophisticated heating system. The outer cover, 12 to 20 buffalo hides sewn together, wrapped around a frame of 15 to 20 poles, each 20 to 25 feet long. The inner liner, called a duke cloth, hung from the poles, extending from 5 to 6 feet up from the ground, then angling outward. This created convective air circulation. Explanation: cold air entered at ground level, flowed behind the liner, warmed as it rose, then entered the living space as pre-warmed air. Meanwhile, the rising warm air from the fire exited through the top smoke flaps. This system could maintain inside temperatures 40 to 50 degrees above outside. A 20-foot diameter teepee stayed comfortable in minus 40 degree weather with a small central fire. This is exactly how modern double-walled tents work, or how convective heating systems circulate pre-warmed air. The principle is identical. Wind direction constantly changes. A fixed smoke hole becomes ineffective when wind shifts. Adjustable smoke flaps, 2 ears at the top of the teepee that could be repositioned using external poles. By adjusting these flaps, they controlled draft regardless of wind direction. Proper smoke flap adjustment maintained 95% smoke-free air and prevented heat loss. Inside-outside temperature differential reached 45 to 55 degrees. Imagine sleeping in a teepee on a -30-degree night. Outside, wind howls. Inside, the fire glows softly. Warm air circulates. The hide walls barely move. Temperature stays comfortable all night. Moisture from breathing, cooking, and body heat creates condensation that drips or freezes on inner surfaces. The combination of liner airspace and smoke hole ventilation created constant, gentle air circulation. Moisture exited with rising air before condensing. This maintained dew point management. Simple explanation: by keeping inside surfaces slightly warmer than the air's dew point temperature, condensation never forms. Modern HVAC systems use the same principle. Here's another layer of genius. These structures adapted seasonally. Summer earth lodges, the smoke hole stayed fully open, inner liners removed, creating cross-ventilation. Winter earth lodges, smoke hole minimized, liners in place, entrance tunnel sealed at night. Summer teepees, bottom edges raised for airflow, outer cover loosened. Winter teepees, staked tight to ground, liner fully sealed, outer cover anchored against wind. The same structure could maintain 70-degree comfort in summer and winter, just by adjusting ventilation and liner configuration. A 40-degree temperature range managed with zero mechanical systems. This knowledge passed through generations via hands-on teaching. By age 10, children understood fire management. By age 15, they could construct a winter-ready lodge. Master builders emerged after 20 to 25 years of experience. Building one earth lodge required 400 to 500 hours of skilled labor. A teepee took 80 to 100 hours. But once built, it provided decades of reliable shelter. Most modern people don't understand these principles. We rely entirely on mechanical heating, furnaces, electric heaters, gas systems. These ancient designs are being studied and incorporated into modern sustainable architecture. Passive heating, thermal mass, natural ventilation, all originally perfected by Native Americans. So when you adjust your thermostat tonight, remember this. For thousands of years, people stayed warm all night in structures that used zero electricity, zero gas, zero mechanical systems. This wasn't primitive technology. This was advanced applied physics, thermodynamics, material science. Fluid dynamics, all mastered through observation and refined over generations. Modern engineers study these designs and discover principles we thought we invented. This isn't history. This is human intelligence at its absolute peak. The most humbling truth? We're still learning from them.